Hello, hello. Welcome back to the Passports, Profits, and Pixie Dust podcast. I am so excited, friend. This is episode 400, which is insane to me. Um, when I started this podcast, it was first called the Social Selling Sisterhood because my businesses, the majority of them started in network marketing. I was really talking to network marketers. And honestly, I was building a team and I was wanting to do all these trainings and share everything that I'd learned, and not everyone wanted to hear it all the time. So I was like, okay, I need like an outlet. I need a place where I can teach. And I'd always listened to podcasts. Well, I say always, but I had been listening to podcasts since I got in the business realm. So in 2016, I started listening to like the Jenna Kutcher podcast and the Rachel Hollis podcast and Amy Porterfield, and kind of just went in a rabbit hole after that and started this podcast. And I actually bought the podcast host, because you have to have a podcast host, on AppSumo, which I love AppSumo, by the way. If you've never used AppSumo, it's like a website that creators and new software goes on when it is first launching to kind of get like the bugs worked out, and you can get things for really cheap for lifetime access. So that's what I did. I bought it in January of 2020 and officially started this podcast that summer, the summer of 2020. Actually, let me look at the exact date if I can find the exact date. I don't know if I can find the exact date. It was either June or July. And I was scared to start it because I don't love being committed or tied down to things, which is really funny. Like I do, but I don't. And I was afraid to start it. And I was afraid that I wouldn't have enough to say. And I was afraid no one would listen. And I was afraid that I would start it and hate it. And I would have to like quit something, which since then I have started and quit many things and pivoted many things and learned that that is nothing to be afraid of. But at the time it was it was very nerve wracking to me. So I cannot believe that you are still listening. If you have been listening to this show since it was the Social Selling Sisterhood, will you send me a DM and tell me? Because that's really, really cool. But it has had many renditions over the years. So the next rendition was the Purpose and Pixie Dust podcast. And it was that for a very long time, probably the majority of the time. And that was a shift that my business coach at the time was like, this is a bad idea. The Social Selling Sisterhood is so very clear who you're talking to. And and I had a really big audience. I had a lot of downloads. People were listening, people were sharing it. But I wanted the pivot because I didn't just want to talk to network marketers, and I wanted to bring in the fun Disney branding. And I had very much shifted my brand and my offers at the time to match that as well. So that happened. That was probably summer of 2021. Now I'm like double, maybe it was 22. That was the summer of 22. So Social Selling Sisterhood for about 2 years. And then it was Purpose and Pixie Dust for about 2 years. And then last summer, I shifted it to Purpose, Profits, and Pixie Dust because I wanted the profits piece put in there. Because when I was telling people about my podcast, Purpose and Pixie Dust, everyone thought it was just for Disney. And I was like, okay, no, we're missing the mark here. It is not just a Disney, and it is not really a Disney podcast at all. It's about business and, leaning into your dreams and your hopes and what you want to do with it. And so then when I decided to niche down and really talk to travel business owners this year, you have the fourth rendition, the Passports, Profits, and Pixie Dust podcast. So anyway, thank you for being here. I'm really excited that you are here. And I am doing a really fun giveaway. So if you take a screenshot of your review for this podcast, if you're an Apple Podcast, that's where you would do that. If you're not an Apple user for whatever reason, and you can just leave a review on Spotify. And if you listen on neither of those platforms, if you would just share this with someone and screenshot it and tag me in your stories, you will be entered. And I am giving away some awesome swag bags from my conference that happened this past weekend, the Purpose, Profits, and Pixie Dust Live. So that was what I had. My idea was that it was going to be like a live version of the podcast, which I decided to rename after I named my event. But anyway, my event went down in Springfield, Ohio, and I'm going to do another episode and talk more about that at another time. because today I feel really called to talk about how to stay motivated when your business feels slow and how to make the most of your summer. So that's what this topic is going to be about today. But I want to thank you for being a loyal listener for 400 episodes. And so please make sure you enter that giveaway. You'll see all of the details in an email. Hopefully, you're on my email list. If not, if you head to lindsaydellinger.com/freebies, you can get on any of my email list that way, or you can go to lindsaydellinger.com/quiz if you haven't taken my lead generation quiz yet. That's another great way to do it. Or there is also my newest freebie, which I'm really excited about, which is the Travel Agent Marketing Starter Kit. I had to think of all my names of things, but the starter kit. It is brand spanking new. I just launched it and released it at the end of May. And I'm really excited for this because I think this is a nice way for you to get the deliverables of what I preach all the time about social media and about email and about lead magnets straight to your inbox so that you can use them. So if you haven't downloaded that yet, the link is in the show notes for that. I don't know the URL off the top of my head. I should have had it ready to go, but that is probably the best way to get on my email list right now and to help you right now. So again, thank you for 400 episodes. I love you. And I love that this show means so much to you that you are still listening. And let's dive in now, because again, how to stay motivated when business feels slow. This is something that I've been hearing from a lot of people in the industry, from my clients, that things are feeling a little bit slow right now. And I think it is so important for us to be very present in these seasons because everything in life is cyclical, right? Everything in life has different seasons. And instead of panicking or zoning out, I want to show you how to turn this slower season into a powerful setup for success, especially as we are heading into Q4. I know it seems far away, but we're already halfway through the year. And wave season, if you're a travel entrepreneur, wave season is when the big wave comes in the beginning of the year next year for people to be booking their travel. So if you've ever felt unmotivated when your inquiries slow down or you're tempted to coast through summer, this episode is going to be for you. So let's turn that summer slump into summer strategy. So first things first, if you're feeling the dip in engagement and in leads or in income this time of year, you're not alone. A lot of people have this, and maybe not in all three areas. Maybe it's in one of those areas and not all three, or maybe it is all three. Summer often feels slow for a lot of service-based providers, and this is going to include travel advisors because people are busy. They're having their own vacations. I know I have a lot of vacations and trips planned. People's kids are home. If you're a teacher, you're loving this life because you get to be home over the summer like I am. And people's routines shift. People are staying out longer. They're not in bed. So a good example of this is that when I do events in the summer, I tend to do them later than I do during the school year. During the school year, I do them a little bit earlier. One, because people tend to stay up later in the summer. It has been my experience because it's daylight longer, right? So they're not necessarily going to be inside. And also just selfishly for my own boundaries that I've set up in my business, I don't do things super late at night during the school year anymore. I have a hard cap on that. There's actually a mastermind that I got invited to join, but the calls were at 9 p.m. And I was like, bro, I go to bed at 8. We can't do that, right? So, people's routines are going to shift a little bit. But here is the truth with all of those truths, I guess. Slow doesn't have to mean stuck, and it doesn't mean that you're failing. It just means it's time to shift your focus for a season. So maybe instead of constantly being in promotion mode, summer is the perfect time to reset, reflect, and realign your business. It's a great time to get some of those trainings in. It's a great time to build your audience, and we're going to go into that. So let's talk about how to use summer to your advantage. Let's talk the strategy. So here's what you can do this summer to stay motivated and set yourself up for a wildly successful second half of the year in wave season, travel friend. So first things first is let's review what is working. So grab a notebook and your favorite business planner. If you don't have one yet, you should check out my 6-figure social selling planner and tracker. It's one of my favorites, and it actually asks a lot of these questions in there already, I believe. But here are 3 questions I'm going to give you to ask. 1, what offers or what destinations brought in the most revenue for you this year? Number 2, what content got the most engagement? And question number 3 is what's feeling aligned and what is draining? So use this slower pace to look at the big picture and tweak your strategy accordingly. Number two thing that you can do this summer, update your lead magnet or create a lead magnet if you haven't yet. Now is the great time to refresh your lead magnet with updated info. I know I'm a little bit embarrassed by this, honestly, but I have so many different lead magnets. And this is something that I should probably give to my VA as a task to do as well sometime. But I was just on there and I kind of fell in a rabbit hole of my thank you page once people were downloading some of my lead magnets still had the name of my podcast from like 2 times ago. So it said Purpose and Pixie Dust. And I was like, oh, wow, this needs changed. And I know some of them are pushing people to an offer that I don't even have anymore. So I'm like, that is wasted money on the table for me because I'm not telling people about my new membership, which is the Travel Agent Marketing Studio. It's pushing them into an old membership that I have that people can't even buy. So I'm like, okay, we got to get this together. So that's a great thing that you can do if you already have some lead magnets or if you have a website, is go through and update your info and make sure everything is correct. Or create a brand new one. Create a brand new one if what you already have isn't working, or you want to be bringing in maybe a different kind of client. So maybe the lead magnet that you have is for Disney World and you're really trying to start selling more of river cruising. Let's get a new, destination checklist, a quiz, a travel planning guide, etc. that gets more clients toward river cruising. A lead magnet that you create now is going to equal more leads in the future when people start dreaming about their winter trips and about summer or spring or whatever 2026 travel is going to happen from what you're creating now. So keep that in mind about a lead magnet. Okay, the third thing that you can do is build or enhance your email sequence. Do you have a welcome sequence? Awesome. Summer is a great time to refine it. If you don't have one, let's make that happen. So, 3 things that you can use this time to do for your email. 1, automate your follow-ups. 2, create nurture emails with tips and destinations and client stories. Maybe you can batch a lot of these ahead of time and just set them up either to schedule or you have them all like in Google Docs so that you can easily use the time in the fall and winter and just like copy and paste ones that you already create. And the third thing with this is you can get ahead before the fall rush. All right. Thing number 4 that you can do is create evergreen content. So what I mean by creating evergreen content is if you're going to post less this summer, post better. So you can batch some evergreen content like this. Your top 3 travel planning tips for X destination, perhaps a destination guide, client testimonials, or maybe you want to do a myth busting reel. I've been having a lot of fun with the myth busting. Like the last episode, I believe it was all about myth busting as well. So what I mean by evergreen content is this is content that can be used again and again. This is content that can save you time when you're busier later because you can either repurpose it, you can tag potential clients in it when they're asking you questions. Oh yeah, I made a reel about that. Or, oh yeah, I have a whole destination guide about Spain. Let me tag you in it. Right? So some of this evergreen content, if we get this created now and put out now, can save us time and make our life easier in the future. The 5th thing that you can do this summer when business is feeling maybe a little bit slower is reconnect with past clients or people that we call your warm leads, where they're not clients yet. They've maybe talked to you a little bit about travel or they've mentioned travel to you, but they haven't booked with you. So things you can do with these are send a friendly check-in email. If you have this kind of relationship with your clients, perhaps you're going to text them or send them a Facebook message, and maybe it just goes like, hey, Susie, I know that this time last year you were in Disney World and you had an amazing trip. Just wanted to remind you that I would love to help you plan your next Disney vacation or Universal or, whatever it is. Let them know if there are deals. Susie, I know you went to Disney this time last year. Disney has some amazing deals for the summer. I thought of you. Let me know if, this is something that you would like to explore some more. Let them know of offers. Let them know of specials that might be coming up in the fall. Let them know when, especially, I know I'm using Disney a lot, but they have a lot of these things. Like with Disney, let them know that, hey, now is a great time to be planning for the holidays. Now is a great time to plan all that. And then when the Christmas party, I can't think of the names of everything right now, but when the Christmas party tickets become available, I can let you know, anything like that. But summer is a perfect time for planting seeds. And along this route, And with this number 5 tip, reconnecting with past clients, this is also a really great time to find new clients, to find new leads, to get out there and to network more. I'm actually going to record another podcast. It might be the next one that drops. If not, it's going to be dropping pretty soon, all about networking and finding new people to add to your network. But summer is a great time to be networking. You are out, you're most likely traveling. So, for example, I was just thinking about this. I will be traveling with a group to Egypt when I go at the end of this month, which I need to start packing for now that my event is over. My next big thing going on in my life is my Egypt trip. So I will be going, and there are a lot of teachers going on this trip. And I'm like, oh my gosh, these people are like my ideal people. But also, they're people who have a lot in common with me, right? Because they're traveling to the same destination as me, they have the same occupation as me. And so I am going to be very intentional about making relationships with these people, because you never know where these relationships can go. It might not have anything to do with travel, but they might refer someone to me down the road. Heck, they might even help me get a new job someday. You never know what kind of things can come out of your network. So definitely keep in touch with your current network, but grow your existing network in any way that you can this summer. And the sixth tip is to book your own travel and document it and share it. People buy what they see you do. So if you're traveling, share it intentionally. I know I always book more trips, not actually necessarily on the vacation, but after the vacation, because people are messaging me based off what they're seeing and they're like, oh my gosh, I want to do that. So show behind the scenes of the planning, talk about upgrades, talk about client perks, and post content that educates and inspires, not expires. Oh my gosh, my words today, friends, my words. It's because I'm so excited to talk about this, but inspires people. People are going to be inspired by what they see you do. When they are seeing that something is available to you and that you're able to do it, people hopefully in your network are going to see that and be like, well, if she can do it, I can do that too. Or that looks really fun. I want to know how to do that too. So they're going to message you and want to know how you're doing it. So make sure that you stay top of mind without being salesy. I'm going to put that little like caveat in there. Okay, let's dive into, now we know the things that we're going to do, how to stay personally motivated. Because yes, we want to prepare, but we also want you to feel good doing it. So here are a few ways to stay motivated and energized, especially during the summer. Number one is to build a summer routine that works. So I know I have a lot of teachers or maybe former classroom teachers that are listening to this. This is a huge one for me because during the school year, I fit my business in before school and after school, and I have my whole routine down, right? In the summer, when I don't have that school time, I have to be a little bit more disciplined. Not only more disciplined because I have more time in the day that I can work my business, but also more disciplined to plan ahead so that I can take the vacations, I can take the time off, I can have more downtime. You can do all of this yourself as well, but you do need to design your weeks intentionally. So I'm going to give you a couple ideas. I am a big fan of theme days. You might have heard me talk about this before. So, for example, Mondays could be a CEO day where you're getting done all your admin tasks. Maybe you are calling and you're booking trips. Fridays might be your day for content creation and content batching. And maybe you're going to be recording reels and it's something like fun for you to do on Fridays. Fridays for me are always follow-up Fridays. I go through my list and I'm following up with any of my clients that I need to follow up with. I might be following up with people who want to become travel agents as well. I might be following up with the people inside the travel agent marketing studio and make sure everything is going okay and they're able to figure everything out. Tuesdays maybe could be your admin work. Tuesdays for me is podcasting day. I do everything around my podcast on Tuesdays. Maybe you're going to do your admin work from your pool chair or your beach chair. If you have a backyard pool, I'm really jealous of you because I need one of those. That's like on my bucket list, is to work from my own pool someday. But anyway, consistency doesn't have to mean that you have a rigid set schedule. It just means an intentional rhythm to your day that's going to work for you and it works for your family and it works for your business. This might take a little while to figure out. And also with these theme days, I stick to the theme largely, but then I also, there are going to be things that come up that like aren't going to fit into your Monday, or they can't wait until your next Monday when it's a CEO day and you need to do it now. That's totally fine. Maybe you put 2 hours every morning to book new client trips that have come in or something like that. So figure out what works for you. Just because it works for me doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for you. So I allow myself to have some flexibility in that as well, but just know like these are the things that I have to get done on this day and I get them done. The next thing to help keep you motivated and energized is to set a summer goal that inspires you. It doesn't have to be a giant launch. It doesn't need to be your 7-figure plan. It totally can be, but let's set some goals that are going to be more manageable and excite you and be something that you feel like you can obtain. So, for example, grow your email list by 100 people this summer. I know this is what we're working on in our email launch lab that I'm doing with Paul Gowder right now. That's the example goal that we gave the women in the group is let's just try to grow your email by 100 people this summer. Another goal could be batch 30 pieces of evergreen content, which we talked about what that meant. Maybe this is going to be to pitch 5 podcast interviews. So hopefully you're getting this, that, these small wins are going to build big momentum. So we don't have to go out of the gate with like 100 podcast interviews booked this summer. Would that be really cool if you did that? Yeah, for sure. Get it, girl. But also I know me and I don't want to be tied down to 100 podcast episodes this summer. So, maybe that's not the thing that is going to light you up. Find the thing that will light you up and make you feel really proud and set that as some of your summer goals. The third thing, celebrate the season. This is your reminder. You're allowed to enjoy summer. Your energy doesn't need to be in constant hustle mode. You can create space and still grow. Joy is a success strategy, but we do get to be strategic with this, right? Okay. And so I kind of talked about this last piece a little bit. This is just like a little teaser, I guess, for the things that you could be doing right now to go above and beyond to really plan for your wave season now. So if you want a record-breaking wave season come January, summer is your prep season. View this as your prep season instead of your down season. Here's what you can focus on to do that. 1, we talked about this already. Build your audience. Build them now that you're going to sell to later. This can be your email list. This can be your Facebook group. This can be your DMs. This can be your in-person networking. Be building your audience in all the places that you possibly can. Refine your systems. Use this time instead of the downtime, right, to refine your systems. Summer systems. These could be your booking workflows. This could be your onboarding. This could be your client emails. This could be your payment schedules. Tighten everything up now and get really good, solid processes down now so that they're working for you later. Tighten it up now when we have the space to do it, so it's working for you later when things might get a little bit more hectic in a different season. And then the third thing that you can do is start pre-planning what you're going to be focused on in Q4 and Q1 of next year. So do you really want to sell cruises in Q4? Start prepping your content and your graphics and your lead magnets for that now. So spend a little bit time really envisioning what is possible for you in your business the rest of this year, heck, into next year, and maybe even into the following year. I like to plan as far as like 1 to 3 years out, knowing pure well, the way that I work is that I pivot a ton and I change my mind a ton, but I really love allowing me to have that space to envision where things could possibly go. Like what could go right? What do I feel really good about doing? What do I love doing in my business? And how can I lean further into that and grow those pieces? So I want to encourage you to think of this summer as your business's backstage season. What you prep now will determine the size of your curtain call. Okay, so your quick win homework to do today is to pick one thing to prep for your fall or your wave season this week. Just one. So you could update your lead magnet, you could batch 5 posts, you could outline an email sequence, you could DM 3 past clients. Remember, small moves now are going to be big results later. So if you're ready to stop guessing and start growing, make sure you download the Travel Agent Marketing Starter Kit. And you can also sign up and get into the Travel Agent Marketing Studio. This is a lot of words for me today, but the Travel Agent Marketing Studio. Inside of the Travel Agent Marketing Studio, don't forget, you can get customized content created on honestly, you could redo it every day if you wanted because you have the access, you have the login access to the portal to be able to write a few things about your business, what you're looking to create, and it creates so much content. It's insane. So for social media, it will give you reels ideas, it will give you conversation starter ideas, it will give you email sequences, literally all the things. It will also have a place where you can create your own lead magnets directly in the site and share that URL with your audience and they can sign up for your email list. So it's literally like an all-in-one package. It's freaking amazing. Get in there and get started right now because this is another thing. You can play around with it and get it set up and feel really, really good about this so that you have all these systems in place to help you with your marketing for the fall and for the winter. Okay, that's it for episode 400. My reminder to you is that business isn't linear and slower seasons aren't setbacks. They're invitations to realign and focus. You're doing better than you think, and your dream clients are still out there and they are watching you and they are waiting for you to show up as the bold, as the person who is attracting them in, as the person who is the expert and who they want to hire to help them plan their next trip or do whatever it is, the thing that you are doing. So keep showing up, keep sprinkling in that pixie dust, and I'll see you next time on the Passports, Profits, and Pixie Dust podcast. Bye-bye.